Hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the Business of Acting. And hopefully you'll learn something or two today. First off, I'm Drew Sue. This is Kevin Interdonato. And we'll each say, thank you. We'll each say something about ourselves, but I just want to introduce us and just get that over with. And that's Russ Russo in the end. So just by a show of hands before we get this started, how many of you are actually interested in acting? Oh, nice. Nice, very nice. How many of you are actually acting right now? I know you two did a project. Yeah.
I do stage work with him.
Awesome.
Who wants to make a career out of it?
Yeah.
John.
James?
He's a fantastic actor.
Awesome.
I've sort of gone over into the directing area primarily.
Great.
Not many roles for people my age.
Great. So you're in the right place because there's, we're all artists, but unfortunately there's the business aspect of it, and if I could just not deal with that, I would. But it's just the reality of things. So that's what we're here to talk to you about, the business of acting. So I've been in the industry for close to 15 years in Toronto. I am an actor, television host, producer, and I have my own YouTube channel, which I heard that Lamar does as well, so I'll check you out.
Yeah.
But in today's world, I mean, there's no excuse. Like Nick was saying, there's absolutely no excuse if you want to get into acting. You just pick up a camera, and they're so cheap nowadays. You just, edit them yourself. You have distribution, and you have an audience, right? So that's a little bit about me. I'll pass it over to Kevin. How long have you been in the business?
12 years.
Okay. And Kevin and Russ are from LA. So they're living the dream.
We're from Jersey.
Oh.
We're Jersey boys. I'll make that loud
We're
and
from
clear.
Jersey, that's where I originally came from.
I probably know half the people in the cast over
You
there.
might, yeah.
Next show there, unfortunately.
No, they were good people.
We're from the shore area, actually.
Oh, man, Sewell.
The real shore.
Yeah.
Not the TV show.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
They're so everybody's pissed out.
Yeah. Geez, I'm just so bad at talking about myself. Been acting 12 years, and I think a lot of stuff I'll say, or Russ says, goes hand in hand. We have very similar careers. We both lived in the same area. Didn't know each other until maybe 7, 8 years into our careers, and we ended up growing up 20 minutes from each other, and our high schools wrestled each other, and we won most of those matches. The independent film scene in New York, and New Jersey, and Philly was my bread and butter. When I felt a couple years ago when I exhausted that area because of tax credits not being available and whatnot, the massive work was west, and I chose, instead of New York and New Orleans, as they say, to move to California. And things progressed from there as well. So I did some TV stuff on the East Coast and the West Coast, a plethora of independent film from the lowest budget you could possibly think of, which means literally nothing, to decent-sized budgets. And yeah.
And you wrote and produced...
I made a film, I made a feature when did I do that? Oh, no, well, I wrote it so many years ago. Yeah, in 09, and it could have been a great experience, turned out to be a horrible experience. It really pissed me off talking about it, so I'm going to not go too far into it. But, this business can be absolute hell if you're not prepared for it. And
in absolute highs.
And absolute
when you are
highs.
ready and
more hells than highs, but you really have to have a very thick skin, like Mr. Pitt said.
Yes.
Very thick skin, and be able to roll with the punches and not take anything personally. It's unfortunate when you're an adult and it feels like you're walking through the halls of high school and you're actually being judged by your looks. It's a joke. There's certain elements in the film business that actors like myself and Russ aspire to. We tend to be more independent film actors rather than entering the studio system. We're risk takers, we're believers. we're gritty, we're raw. It's a certain type of actor that that falls into an independent film scene. And within the independent film, you know, there's many different calibers. You know, it's not just independent film is independent film. It's not like that. There's certain levels you mature to in season, and you just find better work and better people to work with. And it's been a long road, and I'm happy with where I am, but I'm never satisfied. And I'll answer anything straight from the gut anybody wants to ask, and I'll give it to you straight. That's my end.
Awesome. So just before we continue with Russ's intro, I'm gonna ask them both questions for the first half hour. I don't know clock, so someone will have to tell me when it's, and then we'll take questions because we're here for you guys and we want to answer any questions that you have. So we want to make sure that you all get your questions in. So, Russ.
Yeah, I don't want to make it a diatribe or anything like that. I just want to say that, you know, you start with theater, and a lot of this has been discussed. So I started with Shakespeare, and you start with a sort of foundation in theater, and you sort of read a lot. You try to, you know, find out some of the things that you want to do. I think for actors, a lot of times you find the reason why you even want to get into it, aside from even telling stories, is you have a lot of people inside of you. You live a lot of lives. So I think you want to sort of go through all those lives that you think are within you, and you want to become those people and be those people, even for just like a sort of a fleeting moment. And you know, I think that's the reason why we're here. And then there's a business part that we'll get into. We've sort of learned the hard way about. About that too, I guess.
And Russ is very modest. He's been in more award-winning independent films than I could even count. So he's been around there in the festival circuit, nationwide and worldwide. He's been a lot of good stuff.
Okay, so Russ touched on a really good point, and actually Kevin did as well. How do you know what type of acting is for you? So we're going to get started with the actual business of it. So first things first, and I'm just going to start with the beginning and just kind of progress. Okay, so the first thing that you need as an actor is, can anyone?
Designer.
Very good. But tools. Very good. But tools. The first thing that you need as an actor. Okay, so headshot. Headshot and a resume. How do you go about getting a headshot? It's not your typical, you're at a barbecue and someone took your headshot. It's, you know, so I'm going to ask Kevin to, what are some of the things, so you're looking for a photographer, what are some of the things that you want to talk to the photographer about? What are some of the things that do you ask to see their work, that sort of thing? How do you go about getting a headshot? Because that's the first thing that casting directors see. And that's where they're going to judge you on.
Yeah, I'm going to lead in, say something and lead into that. Looking back on it, we had a lot of time to talk about this stuff driving out here, and there's so many utilized it and researched it, went at it. And neither one of us had anyone to tell us anything. I don't know about your situation, but it's a hard road when you don't have someone telling you the ins and outs when you start. It really is. I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
Speaking about black and white versus color and all that, is there, this is indirect, I'm sorry, is there any movement within independent film to go back to black and white film?
Film.
Or back to black and white, making it black and white instead of simply color?
Like the headshot or film itself?
Film, the movies themselves.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's-
art.
that's
You can
actually
do whatever
interesting.
you
It's funny you
want.
say that, right?
But
But in that sense, maybe black and whites would be necessary for, as well.
We were in a film together. Russ has a lead in it, and it's going to be premiering in LA and New York next month. And it's a shoe-in for some very prominent film festivals. Can't release too much information, but it's called The Projectionist, and it was shot on the Red Alexa or Scarlet Alexa. Red Alexa, and it's black and white. And it's a beautiful piece. It's absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. It's black and white. It's an artistic
The
piece.
reason I ask is because back in the 60s when I was a movie theater manager, I ran the Janus Film Festival. And those films are such spectacular films in black and white, most of them were in those days. And I'm kind of was curious as to why I'm glad to hear that that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's still filmmakers that do it for the art, you know, and
Because there's aesthetic and shadow
yeah.
and beauty to it.
But for the most part, the way the business is going, just by statistics too, it's just general. The younger generation doesn't appreciate it as much. They won't go out of their way to see it as much. It's pretty involved, the stats and all that stuff. But it is true. It tended to wash away a bit. But for the filmmakers that don't know it and have used it and have done it, the ones that have been around for a while, it is always an interpretation of art that they deem, you know, fit to make a movie in black and white. And I think true artists respect that. Mr. Pitts.
For these gentlemen here, I just want to announce this. I don't know if you see the schedule or not, but at 6 o'clock tonight, Carmen the movie will be showing. This is a film that my son, he produced it. He's 16, and it is in black and white,
All right.
22 minutes
Wow.
long. So if you're around at 6 o'clock, I'd like for you guys to come check it out. The only reason I'm saying this is because he mentioned
Yeah, of course.
black and white, and I look forward to seeing you
I'd love
guys
to see it,
film
man.
as well.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Good stuff. So just moving on. So Kevin
Hi.
mentioned agent. How do you go about finding an agent?
All right, we talked about this too. We talked about a lot of stuff.
And sorry, and discuss the difference between an agent and a manager.
Go ahead. We're talking about
Oh, no. Manager manages your career. That's somebody you hire once you feel like you're a working actor and you want somebody to say, okay, well, this schedule goes here and you need to meet with this person here. And we've got this film these couple of months, but that ties into, you're already starting another film in that second month within a day or two of each other. That's a manager. An agent is the one procuring the work. That's somebody who's actually on the phones. Now, a manager makes calls, but the agent is getting you into the casting director's offices so that the casting directors can then see you, and then you can go to the producers. And then once the producers see you, and hopefully the director sees you by that third time, and then you book the role. Usually it happens in sometimes the second, third, or fourth time on any given project. You're going to get seen between 2 and 4 times. But that's what an agent does. They get you into those offices, those prominent offices in which, independent film and bigger pictures or studio pictures are cast.
So how do you go about finding an agent?
I think, well, we got a great resource with the internet these days, and I don't know if you've heard of something called the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, imdb.com. You guys know about this?
Yeah.
Well, there's something called the imdbpro.com, and what it is you pay about $15 a month, and it gets you a list of every agent and manager